Hi everyone, welcome again to your course, Chemistry for Engineers. So today we will be tackling your module number 3, which is entitled Environmental Chemistry. So we are already done with your module number 2, your engineering materials, wherein you have learned about the basic concepts of your crystal structure, followed by metals. And then of course, I provided you videos about polymers and nanomaterials. So again, this is your instructor, Engineer Jonaika A. Tapiador. So your module number 3 is entitled Environmental Chemistry. And the topics that we need to cover, or rather, let me check the next slide. The learning outcomes that you should be able to achieve at the end of this course is explain the processes of chemistry in the environment, particularly your water, soil, and air. And the content of your module, we have 3, the chemistry of the atmosphere. That is the one that we will be covering in this video. And on the next video, you will have the chemistry of water, followed by your soil chemistry. So let's talk about the chemistry of the atmosphere. So these are the topic contents that we will be covering throughout this video. The very first one is what is atmosphere, followed by the significance of your atmosphere, the composition, evolution, and the structure of the atmosphere. So what is atmosphere? When we say atmosphere, it says here, it is the thick blanket of air which envelopes our planet and helps sustain life on Earth. Among all of the planets that we have in the solar system, our planet is actually very unique because of our atmosphere. The life on Earth, as we know it, is possible because of our atmosphere. Later on, we'll dig deep on what is the content of our atmosphere and how it actually helps sustain life here on our planet. The second note here states that atmosphere behaves as a protecting shield for all life on Earth, making it unique in the solar system. The atmospheric gases, which are used in respiration and photosynthesis, is called, sorry for the grammatical error there, is called air. So when we say air, it is very specific as the gases that is being used for respiration and photosynthesis. However, when we say atmosphere, it is the totality of that blanket which envelopes our planet. And the atmosphere of Earth contains mixture of gases which are forced to be maintained near the Earth's surface by gravity. Later on, you will take a look at what are the gases that is present in our atmosphere. But you have to take note that our atmosphere is being maintained by the gravitational pull of the Earth's core. So another one. Though the atmosphere extends into outer space and there is no distinct border between them, we have an imaginary line that we call the common line. So please take a look at the spelling. You have K and then you have A with an apostrophe on top. So that's your common line, which is approximately at a height of 100 kilometers and is considered as the boundary of Earth's atmosphere. So from the surface of the Earth up to 100 kilometers above, we have this imaginary line wherein we set it as the boundary of our atmosphere, though our atmosphere extends up to the outer space. So ito lang yung boundary na siniset. Common line, 100 kilometers. So, since you already know what an atmosphere is, let's go now to its significance. Why is it important? So, I will be providing you a few reasons. Actually, there's a lot of reasons. I just pick those reasons which are very important or much more important than others. So it says here, the atmosphere protects life on Earth by serving the following functions. First, it absorbs the energetic ultraviolet radiation while allowing the passing of important visible radiation. So of course, di ba sa sun, di ba yung sun natin, nag-release yan ng vast amount of energy in terms of your ultra or your UV rays. Now, those particular UV rays is actually being filtered by our atmosphere. Kaya po pag tumatama na siya dito sa Earth, hindi na po harmful yung mga rays coming from the sun. So, nakita niyo na po kung gaano ka-importante yung atmosphere. That's the very first significance. Let's go to the second one. It says here, keeps the Earth's surface warm through heat retention, making possible a comfortable mean temperature of plus minus 15 degrees Celsius. It prevents excessive heating of surface of the Earth at day and excessive cooling at night, thereby reducing the temperature variations. So because of our atmosphere, the average temperature that we have on Earth is around plus minus 15 degrees Celsius. Average na po to sa lahat ng locations throughout the Earth. Now, our atmosphere is important kasi syempre, di ba, pag umaga po, alam natin na nandyan si sun. So, pag umaga, our atmosphere prevents the excessive heating, yung masyadong mainit. And then at night, kung baga wala na kasing sun, so dapat malamig na siya. So, prevent din niya yung excessive cooling at night. Na-maintain niya yung ating mean temperature at plus minus 15 degrees Celsius. So, that's the mean temperature of the Earth. So, other significance of your atmosphere, it says here, contains nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide gases that is essential for plant growth and for respiration. So, as you already know, diba, the one that's supplying our oxygen are your plants, and they are to take up carbon dioxide through photosynthesis. Oxygen and carbohydrates are produced. Now, syempre, yung oxygen, ginagamit natin yan, diba, as human beings. The carbon dioxide that we release, it's being used by your plants. And the nitrogen, ito po, usually, it's an inert gas. However, there are forms of nitrogen that are very important for your plants. Kasi may form of nitrogen na kaya nilang, kumbaga, pagkain din nila. Yung nutrients na makukuha nila in a form of nitrogen. So, another one is that it protects the surface of Earth and all life existing on Earth from small meteorites that heat up in the atmosphere due to friction. So our atmosphere, there's a certain layer there which we will tackle later on. May layer po yung ating atmosphere wherein pagdating dun sa layer na yun, kumbaga nababurn out or nagkakanda pira-piraso po yung mga meteors sa outer space. So of course, diba, sa outer space may mga meteors, meteorites. Ngayon, our atmosphere is serves as a protective shield since naproprotect niya tayo from those meteorites na kung mayroong mga meteorites na nakakapasok dito na sa part natin, hindi na po siya ganun kalalaki or it's not as damaging as it should be. So another one, it serves as an integral part in the biogeochemical cycles of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and your sulfur. So I believe in your higher engineering subjects, if you still have your environmental engineering subjects, you will tackle this particular carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur cycles. And very important kasi yung the role that our atmosphere plays in these biogeochemical cycles is important. So another one, it helps in flow of energy and water vapors through dynamic processes of airflow. And another one, it helps in radio communication. So paano kaya nakakatulong yung atmosphere natin in terms of radio communication? Later on, we will take a look at that. Another one, it helps in movement of aircrafts, and it aids in dissipation, dispersion, and decomposition of your pollutants. So these are just some of the significance of our atmosphere. There are actually a lot. Later on, makikita natin bakit kaya. What is the role that what role does our atmosphere play? In terms of moving of aircrafts, in terms of decomposing your pollutants, etc. So next is the composition of the atmosphere. So you already know that our atmosphere is composed of gases. Diba? Nasabi ko na yun sa introduction kanina. But what are those particular gases? So this is the composition of your atmosphere. Let's take a look at the left one. So atmospheric composition. So you can see here that our atmosphere is actually 78% nitrogen. This is by mass. 78% nitrogen. And then you have 21% oxygen. You have 0.9% argon. And 0.1% trace gases. So halo-halong gases yung 0.1. So mainly it's nitrogen, oxygen, argon, and trace gases. So yan po yung composition ng atmosphere. But let's take a deeper look. What are these particular trace gases? Anong meron dyan sa trace gases na yan? That is the one that we have here on the right side, trace gases. So as you can see, your trace gases is composed of 93.497% carbon dioxide. So mainly, yung trace gases nyo is carbon dioxide. Then it is followed by your neon gas, which is 4.675%. And then it's followed by your helium gas, which is 1.299%. And then you have your methane, which is 0.442%. Your nitrous oxide, which is 0.078%. And finally, your ozone, which is 0.01%. So, yung 0.1 na trace gas na nandito po sa inyong left side is actually ito. Ito yung kanyang composition. Okay? So, make sure that you are familiar with the percentages. It might come out in your exam. So, let's go to the next topic, the evolution of the atmosphere. So, how did our atmosphere evolve? Paano ba siya nagsimula? Paano siya naging buo? In your atmosphere, we have this what we call 3 stages or 3 eras that we will be tackling para kumbaga magkaroon siya ng kwento sa kung paano talaga siya na nag-evolve. So it says here, in present day, the evolution of the atmosphere is a long process spanning over millions of years and related with the Earth's origin and evolution. The evolution process can be divided into 3 eras, namely your first or your primitive atmosphere, and then you have your second or your reducing atmosphere, followed by the third one, your present day or what we call your oxidizing atmosphere. So just like how the Earth was formed, may kwento din po kung paano nag-evolve yung ating atmosphere. So let's dig deeper into each era or each state for us to have a better understanding. Primitive or first atmosphere. So the formation of Earth took place about 5 billion years ago from a solar nebula, according to our Big Bang theory. Now, the atmosphere at that time would have consisted primarily of your hydrogen. Yung mga gases lang po na present sa atmosphere natin during that time. Your hydrogen, your water, of course, in terms of gas, so that's your water vapor. your nitrogen, your carbon dioxide, and of course your carbon monoxide. So ito lang po yung gases na present during that time. So it says here, these gases delivered to the space because the temperatures were too high and the Earth's gravity was weak because Earth did not have a differentiated core. Kumbaga yung mga gases na yon, parang they go in and out of outer space kasi nga po there's no gravity, or the Earth's gravity was not enough to keep them in place. Since your Earth didn't have a core yet, di ba? Yung sa pinakaloob, yung inyong inner core na which is believed to kumbaga siya yung nagiging cause ng gravitational pull natin. So the second one is your reducing or your second atmosphere. So it says here, this atmosphere existed from 3.5 to 2 billion years ago. So, di ba kanina, yung first atmosphere natin, 5 billion years ago, etong reducing or second atmosphere is about 3.5 to 2 billion years ago. An important part you need to take note of is that your hydrosphere formed about 4 billion years ago, resulting in huge oceans from condensed water vapor. Di ba po kanina sa ating first atmosphere, may water na pero it's actually in terms of vapor. So yung water na yun, nung 4 billion years ago na, yung water na yun nag-condense siya, kaya naging liquid water siya. So ang pinakaunang na-form talaga is yung water bodies natin. So the huge amount of water vapor na nag-condense, yun po yung naging result niya. Nagkaroon na tayo ng oceans. Your hydrosphere, as we call it, was formed. So another part of your reducing or second atmosphere, during this period, since, di ba, nagkaroon tayo ng hydrosphere, the Earth cooled down, nag-cool down na yung temperature ng Earth, and different layers of the Earth took place. Having, of course, your solid core in the middle, followed by your liquid mantle, and of course, the very thin crust or the outer layer of Earth. And the solid core resulted in a strong gravitational force. So another part of your reducing atmosphere, the energy released from accretion of particles and decay of radioactive isotopes caused massive volcanic eruption. Gases dissolved in the molten magma were reduced while passing through the mantle. So dito po nabuo yung mga mountains, ganyan. So dahil po sa napakadaming energy. And it says here, large amounts of your nitrogen and carbon dioxide were released into the atmosphere. And most of your carbon dioxide dissolved in water, making up your carbonate sediments. Dahil din po dun sa na-dissolve na carbon dioxide, kumbaga sa, di ba yung mga pearls ba yung tawag dun? Coral reefs under the ocean, na-form po yun because of the dissolved carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And finally, the third one, your oxidizing or your present-day atmosphere. Now, this took place around 2.4 billion years ago, wherein free oxygen starting forming in our atmosphere. So, kung mapapansin nyo po, doon po sa first atmosphere and the second atmosphere, wala pang oxygen. Kaya wala pa rin pong life on Earth. Kasi diba, syempre, as human beings, as mammals, we need oxygen to survive. So, during that time, wala pong oxygen talaga. So, nung sa third, sa oxidizing atmosphere na, doon na po na-form yung oxygen. Pero paano kaya? Paano kaya na-form itong oxygen na to? So it says here, though photosynthesizing cyanobacteria, because of your cyanobacteria, were present around 2.7 billion years ago, the oxygen released during photosynthesis was used to oxidize metals like your iron. So, meron naman ng oxygen dati. Although, because of your cyanobacteria. Although during that time, the O2 was only used for oxidation of your metals. Hindi pa siya, hindi pa siya ginagamit for respiration. And the atmosphere became oxidizing and your oxygen-consuming form began appearing in the oceans of Earth. Una po nagkaroon ng life form sa oceans. So, nauna yung mga fishes and sea creatures, di ba? Nauna sila kasi yung form ng oxygen na meron na, kumbaga, yung form ng oxygen na tinitake nila, yung dissolved oxygen, present lang po siya under the ocean. Kasi sa land, hindi pa siya pwede. Hindi pa natin, kumbaga hindi pa kayang i-sustain yung life with the oxygen that is present on land. Sa ocean muna siya, sa loob ng ocean. Tapos, the oxygen was being generated by photolysis of water from ultraviolet radiation and also from photosynthesis by plants and cyanobacteria. Nagkaroon po ng oxidizing or rather ng oxygen sa land because of your ultraviolet radiation. Yan po yung nauna. And of course, syempre, isama mo na rin na tumulong yung cyanobacteria. So it says here, however, higher in the atmosphere, oxygen molecules were absorbing the UV radiation and getting converted to your ozone, or that's your 3 moles of your, or 3 atoms of your oxygen. So sa taas na, higher in the atmosphere, because of the absorption of your oxygen of the ultraviolet radiation, nako-convert siya into ozone, which is O3. And then soon enough, an ozone layer was formed which protects surface of the earth from high energy UV radiation, making it feasible also for the development of life on land. Nung nagkaroon na tayo ng ozone layer, tsaka na po nag-develop yung life doon sa land part. And as higher form or higher life forms emerged on land, plants added to the atmospheric oxygen while animals used it for breathing, and the oxygen level stabilized around the 21% that we know as of today. So yun po yung kwento ng ating atmosphere from the primitive, following the secondary, and of course your oxidizing atmosphere. So the last topic for this particular video is the structure of your atmosphere. So di ba may mga layers yung ating atmosphere? I believe you have already tackled this in your high school courses. So let's dig deeper onto those layers. So it says here, there are 5 layers of the Earth's atmosphere based on the variation in vertical temperature in each layer. Excuse me. So you have your troposphere, your stratosphere, your mesosphere, thermosphere, and your exosphere. So ganito po yung kanyang itsura. So on your left y-axis, you have here the height from the surface. So if we start from the equator, so pataas yan, 10 kilometers, 50, 70, 90 kilometers, hanggang 100 kilometers. And dito naman, sa inyong x-axis is the temperature. So from negative 100 to your 0 degrees Celsius to your, dito is 60 plus 60 degrees Celsius dito. And dito naman sa your, dun sa right na y-axis, you have your pressure in terms of millibars. So for this, i-interpret po natin tong table na to. What does it say in regarding each layer of your atmosphere? So unahin na po natin si troposphere. Troposphere is the closest layer to the Earth's surface. So it is about 18 kilometers above the sea level at the equator and 7 kilometers at the pole. So medyo mas mataas kasi yung pole natin than your equator, kaya yung pagsukat niya is ganyan. So if we try then to take a look here at the table or at the figure, diba dito yung 0 kilometers natin, at sabi niya it's about 18 kilometers above sea level. So banda dyan, so may line na doon, ibig sabihin itong buong area po na ito is your troposphere region. And another one that you need to take note of, the temperature will decrease at a rate of about 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer as altitude increases, and the average temperature near the surface is 15 degrees Celsius while it is negative 57 degrees Celsius at the top. So kung if this line will represent your temperature, diba mag-start siya as positive 15, the mean temperature of the Earth's surface. Sabi niya, habang pataas ka daw ng pataas dun sa troposphere mo, palamig ng palamig. Such that on top of your troposphere region, dito po, this particular region, it is negative 57 degrees Celsius. This actually makes sense kasi diba, if you try then to, kapag medyo isipin mo, higher altitude means lower temperature. So, ibig sabihin, kunyari nasa Manila ka, you're in Manila, which is lower than Baguio. Diba, mainit sa baba. Kaya mainit sa baba, and as you go high, kunyari nandito ka sa Baguio, diba lumalamig yung temperature. That's why we have here in Baguio, we have a lower temperature kasi nga mas mataas. Diba? As the altitude increases, habang tumataas ka, papunta dun sa atmosphere, lumalamig. That's also the reason why, diba, pag sa, kunyari na lang, umakyat kayo ng bundok, diba? Habang umaakyat ka, diba lumalamig? And perfect example is your Mount Everest, diba? On top, very negative na nga yung kanyang temperature doon. So, as you go higher, the temperature increases in your troposphere region, such that on top of your troposphere region, the temperature is negative 57 degrees Celsius. So, yan po. So, another thing that you have to know about your troposphere region, 75% of the atmospheric gases are present in this layer, and almost all of the dust particles and water vapor. All weather phenomenon like your cloud formation, winds, rainfall, snowfall takes place in this layer. So dito po sa troposphere region natin, dito nangyayari yung mga weather phenomenon. Pag umakyat ka na sa troposphere region, wala na pong weather occurrences na nangyayari doon. So let's go to the second layer of your atmosphere, which is your stratosphere. So it says here, stratosphere is the second layer of the Earth's atmosphere. It starts at the top of your tropopause and is 50 kilometers above sea level. So I forgot to mention, this part, kumbaga yung boundary po between your troposphere and your stratosphere is called your tropopause. So, parang siya yung, kumbaga, parang siya yung imaginary line between the two layers. So, it starts down from, of course, from your tropopause up to 50 kilometers. So, ayan po, 50 kilometers. So, itong buong region na to is your stratosphere region. And the term stratosphere is derived from a Greek word strata, which means arrangement in horizontal layers. So, anong meron sa stratosphere? So, it says here, weather balloons and jet aircrafts fly in this region as the air present in this layer is very thin. This increases the fuel efficiency of the aircrafts. The stratosphere layer also contains your ozone layer, which is at a height of about 30 kilometers. So, yung mga weather balloons natin and jet aircrafts, they actually fly in this particular region. So, dyan sila lumulutang-lutang, and whatnot. Wait. So, yung ozone layer is actually in the stratosphere region. It's about 30 kilometers from the Earth's surface. So, if we go back, makikita nyo dito, di ba? Ayun siya, ozone layer. Sa 30 kilometers, ayan po. Andyan po yung ating ozone layer. And of course, I already mentioned kung ano ba yung importance ng ozone layer natin. So, the third one is your mesosphere. So, your mesosphere is the middle layer of the Earth's atmosphere. The name is derived from the Greek word mesos, which means middle. So, it's the middle layer. And this layer starts at 50 kilometers above the sea level and extends to about 85 kilometers. So, from the mesosphere, diba, from the stratopause, so yung stratosphere po and mesosphere, yung kanyang gitna or yung kanilang boundary is called your stratopause. Diba yan po? Stratopause. And, nakalimutan kong banggitin. Balik tayo sa stratosphere. So, diba, yung stratosphere nyo is from 18 kilometers to 50 kilometers. And if in terms of temperature, pagdating nyo po sa stratosphere, habang umaakyat ka, umiinit na. So, diba, although hindi pa rin naman talaga siya mainit, kasi diba, mag-start ka dito, negative 57 degrees Celsius, tapos it's going to the right, therefore the temperature is increasing, such that if you go to your boundary, your stratopause, yung temperature po dyan is 0 degrees Celsius. So, diba, 0, ayan, nakatapat siya sa 0 degrees Celsius. So, yun. And sa mesosphere naman, so starting from your stratopause, which is about 0 degrees Celsius, habang umaakyat ka po is mas lalong lumalamig. Such that, diba, sabi niya pa nga dito, sometimes it's even less than 100 degrees Celsius. So, yung kanyang height is 50 kilometers to around 85 kilometers. And the temperature of upper layer is even less than 100 degrees Celsius. So, dapat may paganyan pa yan. Kasi minsan less than 100 degrees Celsius. So, ano bang meron sa ating mesosphere? So, it says here, it is found that meteors generally burn up in the mesosphere. Thus, this layer protects the surface of Earth from being pockmarked with craters. Kumbaga, yung tulong po ng mesosphere is siya po yung kumbaga nagdi-dissolve ng mga meteors na pumapasok sa ating atmosphere such that, syempre diba pag malalaking meteors kasi nagka-create po yan ng crater pag hinihit niya yung surface. So because of this particular layer, kung may mga nakakapasok na mga meteors, it's not as harmful as it should have been. So the fourth one is your thermosphere. It is the fourth and the widest among all of the layers. So dito si thermosphere. So it starts from your mesopause. So yung boundary ni thermosphere and mesosphere is called your mesopause. So it starts from your mesopause up until, diba sabi niya dito, it starts at 90 kilometers. So 90 kilometers pataas. So, up to between 500 and 1,000 kilometers. So, yung kanyang height nagbabago depende daw sa solar activity ng ating sun. Ano bang meron sa thermosphere? So, in your thermosphere, it says here, the air is so thin in this layer that it is generally considered to be part of the outer space. The Kármán line at about 100 kilometers is considered as the boundary of the atmosphere, lies in this particular region. So, your thermosphere consists of your Kármán line. And this layer consists of your many satellites and space shuttles. So, sa layer po na yan, dyan na po yung inyong mga satellites and space shuttle. Dyan na po sila umiikot or that's where they are orbiting. So, So another trivia about your thermosphere. Most of the X-rays and UV radiation emitted by the sun are absorbed in this particular layer. And also in this layer, dissociation of the molecules into atoms, ions, and free electrons is done because of the very high energy radiation. So, bakit kaya importante yung dissociation ng mga molecules into atoms, ions, and electrons dun sa part na yan? The ionization process increases with increase in sun's activity. Now, yung mga ions na na-form create an electrical layer which we know as your ionosphere. So, andyan po yung inyong ionosphere. Ano bang importansya ni ionosphere? Ionosphere can reflect radio waves back to Earth, making radio communication possible. So, kumbaga nagba-bounce back po yung kumbaga yung waves from radio will bounce back. Ganyan. Nagba-bounce back kasi siya doon sa ionosphere. Let's say yan yung ionosphere nyo. They bounce back. That's why radio communication is possible even if you are far away from each other because of that particular layer. Your ionosphere, which is contained in your thermosphere. So the last one is your exosphere. So wala na dito kasi 'di ba 100 kilometers yung boundary. Pero of course, your exosphere is the outermost layer of the Earth. It starts from the top of your thermosphere and extends up to a height of 10,000 kilometers into the outer space. The atmosphere this particular layer consists mainly of your hydrogen and helium, which can escape into space. So yung air dito is very thin, that it is almost considered a vacuum. So that's it for the things that you need to learn regarding our atmosphere. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned a lot, especially how important our atmosphere is. So I'll be seeing you in the next video about the chemistry of your water. And don't forget to click and subscribe to this channel to be updated for any upcoming videos. So that's it for me, class. Stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy. Goodbye, everyone.